Hello, everyone. How you going? Thanks for staying up. Last talk, wrapping up. My name is Martin Pulpan. I'm a CEO and co-founder of Artiffine. Artiffine is a venture studio. And today I'd like to talk with you about building blockchain-based MVPs within 30 days. Now let's start to set the context into place. So the truth is that ideas are cheap. Many people, even if you're a founder, even if you're a creative person, or anyone else, if you have an idea, pretty much many people have idea. The execution is really what matters, and you have a lot of people that don't try, and the ones that try, they embark on a journey full of stress, full of trouble, full of obstacles, and the truth is that most of them are destined to fail based on the statistics. We're just looking at some data around, for example, Pump.Farm new launches. So 99% of new tokens on Pump.Farm don't even make it to the DEX. And the remaining 1%, usually it just goes and dumps with a red candle. So the truth is, like, you're really against the odds if you go on and embark on this very stressful journey and try to build your vision and your idea into a reality. Practically speaking, this is another stat, pretty interesting, from CoinGecko, which is pretty recent. Over the past 10 years, 50% of all the tokens that have been listed, which already is a bit like a filtered selection, have failed. There's a huge number of the current ones that sort of just hibernate. And again, the percentage of those ones that really make it from the idea stage pool is very, very, very small. And many founders, many creative people sort of think that, okay, this doesn't really apply to me. You know, it's like a general statistic. Kind of everyone is aware of the fact that startups are risky, but everyone thinks maybe, you know, mine is going to be different. But it's just very humbling, and I think people should really appreciate the fact that this is the reality that we operate in. And you can have experienced founders, serial entrepreneurs, and many things can go wrong in this endeavor, and things just don't work out. So that's something humbling that everyone should be aware of. And why is that? Does any of you have experience playing Age of Empires? Oh, nice. Love that. So I really love this analogy because when you start in the game, you pretty much only have, like, you know, you start in like one corner of a map and your view of sight is very narrow. So you don't really see many things. The whole map is black, and you have some assumptions around, okay, maybe, you know, I go this way, but your data set is like very limited, right? And you start as well with very limited resources, so you can, you know, you must make good choices because you have a very small like colony at the beginning, and, you know, you must be very thoughtful about how you actually deploy these resources. And at the end of the day, everything is a race. Everything is a competition against the other people. They're trying to do the same, so you just have to be fast, better, and successful. Now, bringing that back into the venture world, how do we expand the field of sight, and how do we expand how we think the problem is, how we think what we can propose as a value proposition to that problem? How do we expand the understanding of the customer and what they really want? This is only us having that in our head as an assumption, but the word is really like validation and going out into the market, engaging with the target customers, exploring all the things, and that's how we expand the field of sight. And an important thing is that it takes resources, right? It's important to do that, but it takes time and resources to do that. And in the ideal scenario, when you really understand and you expand your perspectives on everything, and you know what the customer wants and you can offer them what they want, you reach the product market fit, it starts making a lot of sense, and you sort of just see the whole map, you connect the dots, and, you know, it's so easy to see it suddenly, but you're starting from the very narrow base early with a with an idea that you need to go out, explore, develop, and build. Now, how does the MVP fit in? The MVP is really the tool for that exploration, and it's in the definition, it's a minimum viable product. Many people, from when we talk to them, they sort of like to see MVP equal to product. So to them, they have a huge vision in their head for what they want to achieve in even a few years' time, and they might even call that an MVP, which obviously, the goal here should be, and the stress is on the first two words, which is the minimum viable. In that case, why? Again, we're asking, and it goes back into the fact that we have very limited resources, right? Like we're founders, we competing with like some big corporations with huge budgets and everything. Like they have it, we don't have it. So we need to be very thoughtful about how we deploy those limited resources. And we need to, and we want to explore as much of the map, understand, connect all the dots, the fastest we can, and the cheapest we can. So that's where it comes into play, being very thoughtful about where we invest and like the value in terms of the understanding that we get. And that's why the journey in the minimum viable product is very important. And the speed here, which is another component of that, is also very crucial because two things. One, we are out there trying to solve someone's problem, but we're not the only one, just as on the map we're not the only ones trying to conquer and dominate. There are many other players that are also trying to do the same, and they're exploring on their own pace, on their own journey, with their own specifics, and they're finding their own angles to solve the problems, and we're naturally competing, which is a healthy thing. But that means that the speed is important and it matters. And another thing why, and it can be specific to the Web3 space, and that's that often you get those like, markets shifting, narratives shifting, and if you have a nice market and nice external conditions behind you, you're in a great position to execute, to build, there is demand for what you're doing, then why waiting 2-3 years to be able to get there and achieve that when all of that already passes? So that's how we sort of look at that and MVP in general. What should be said though, and people have different opinions, but we like to gravitate to the idea that MVP is very different to many different startups, and what they need is different. So the validation, the minimum validation component for each startup is different. To give you an example, we, for example, work on Rewardable, which is like a task management platform. And the goal here was really focusing on the critical user journey, user flow, and trying to validate some of the assumptions that we had initially around the value proposition, around the customers coming in and some of the promotional offers, etc. So we went through it. We focused really on just like the key components, and it was very healthy. We got great results in terms of the feedback and the information to further refine the product into something that's very nice and works, and keep building forward and having a nice foundation. So this was an example of more like a traditional working prototype MVP. In terms of, I would argue as well, we had another client that is a stablecoin, and they were looking into exploring one solution, which was actually like a guest-less experience for sending transactions of their own token. And they wanted to collaborate with this, with exchanges, right? So the idea was in the head, with the small view of sight, was let's offer this to exchanges as their marketing channel, as their marketing tool for new coming users. They might be interested in that, and they will sponsor the gas, and it's going to work in like a symbiosis for the users to have a smooth experience. The stablecoin will get more adoption, the exchanges will get more users, and the users will be happy because they just send stuff for free, which is very nice. And for that, there's different stakeholders, right? It's the users, but it's critically the exchanges, without whom it doesn't make even sense to build something like that. And we we did a mock-up prototype that actually focused on the key area, on the key user flow to show it into the exchanges. It was nicely branded. The value was sort of like packed into the design, and we went to a few meetings, and like they were pretty happy about. Yeah, this looks great, and they had a few ideas like, we can add this, we can tweak that, and that really helped to get, like some soft commitment, like, okay, this makes sense. There are people that see value in it, so, we can go on and build that further. So I would argue that that's a nice MVP for, a different use case, and obviously, you go and you can always go low and high fidelity, and there's a bit of room to play. If you would be interested as well at the end of the talk, I have a QR code that you can scan, and there's like 30 different MVPs that you can like go through that we worked on for like some inspiration and information. So that will be available. This is about how we approach building products, really. Over the past like 4 years, we've like refined like a process for going on and executing. It's very much inspired by design thinking, lean startup methodology, and these sort of influences. And what I'd like to talk here, and that's as well something that we observe a lot, is that founders have that big vision in their head about, okay, I want to get us here, I want to have an AI integration here, I want like this, which is nice, it can make sense, but it's like a huge project suddenly with huge commitment of resources, and then waiting for 2-3 years for some market feedback is very risky, increases the risks and everything. So that's why what we like to do is we believe in investing more in that like early stage to really try to empathize with what we think are the right customers, empathize with them, ideate around how we can actually solve some of the key things, translate that into like a wireframes, translate it into solution architecture, think about how we can build it modularly and then scale so that what is the critical path that we want to validate. And all of these things, putting that together, focusing on the things early, actually saves a lot of time, money, and de-risks the project, because then you already have a more stable base, and you already have gone back and forth before really going on and building something that you might need to rework later. So that's really what we like, and for the projects that actually want to go on and really go in that like feedback loop early on, I think that's a very good way to go. And yes, actually that's it. If you would like to talk about, whatever ideas, startups that you have, feel free to connect and shoot me a message. Or as well, we have tomorrow a side event, which is Web3 Shisha launch. So I'd like to invite you there. We have, I think there's like a spot for 20 projects. We have a couple of them still left. So feel free to join. And sign up. There's also the example of some of the MVPs if you just want to go through. And yeah, happy to give you any insights, discuss, and support. So thank you very much for your attention. Hope you had a great day, and happy to see you around.